All right, so you guys are familiar with these, yes? Inequalities. And if you ever have to enter these online, okay, the ones with the exclusive symbols, meaning x is greater than 5, it doesn't include 5, it excludes 5. Those you're just going to enter exactly as they appear. However, if you have these inclusive inequalities, when you enter these online, you would enter it in this form. The greater than followed by the equal. And so you guys see where the greater than and less than symbols would be? Bottom of your keyboard next to the M. Okay, so x is less than -3 would look like x less than -3. X is less than or equal to 8, less than equal to 8. So again, hopefully there's no confusion on how these would be typed when you enter your answers online. Okay, however, there might be confusion on a different type of notation used to represent these. And that notation is interval notation. And interval notation is going to be something I will specify when I want inequality or interval notation, but you guys do need to be able to distinguish between the two. Correct answers will be based on whether you're using the proper form. Okay, and so here's kind of how the interval notation coincides with this. Okay, as a kind of an intermediate step, I'm going to come down and I'm going to go through a third notation, which is graphical notation. And so I kind of want to show like how these all relate. All right, so let's say we take these intervals from up above. If I wanted to sketch the graph of it, okay, I'd sketch my number line, plot my critical point, which in this case is 5, and then my interval is the set of all points that for x that are greater than 5. Is greater than 5 to the right of 5 on a number line or to the left?
Right.
To the right, right? So here's my solution set. It's this set. Okay, and then in this inequality, am I including 5 as a solution or excluding it? Remember, a greater than or a less than that doesn't have an equal to is excluding the set, the endpoint. So is 5 going to be included in the set? No. Okay, so do you remember if this was an open circle or a closed circle? Do you remember graphing these in algebra? It was a open circle, right? A less than or a greater than and a less than were equal to an open circle. Well, now instead of open circles, what we're going to use to replace open circles is parentheses. Okay, so if our solution set opens to the right, our parentheses is going to open to the right as well. So this is what the graphical notation would be for x is greater than 5. Okay, let's go through in each of these as well. So here x is greater than or equal to 0. So we plot our number line, our critical point. Okay, are we opening to the right or to the left? Greater than is to the right again. Okay, and now here, instead of an open circle, now we have the inclusive element, the equal to. So if you have greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, it's equivalent to what you guys remember doing with a closed circle. And instead of open and closed circles, we're going to use parentheses for open, and we're going to use brackets for closed. Okay, so the way that you would you'd open your bracket toward the solution set, so it would be a bracket opening to the right. Okay, what would this one look like? Critical point at -3, is it going to open to the right or to the left? X is less than -3, so it's going to open left. Will it be a parentheses or a bracket at -3? There's no equal to, so it's a parentheses. And so it's going to open to the left. And then our final example here, critical point at 8. And does it open right or left? Opens to the left. Will it be a parentheses or bracket? Bracket. Okay. And so those are what our symbols are going to represent. The interval notation is kind of a blend of these. Okay, and the way that you will identify the interval notations will be as follows. Okay, you're always going to, the interval notation is always going to be some form, symbol, a lower limit, comma, upper limit, comma, another symbol. Now, they may not always be parentheses. It could be brackets or parentheses or brackets. Okay, but this is the general form for the interval notation. So when you look here, A is always your lower number, B is always your upper. So what's the lower number in this interval? The lowest number is 5. The upper number, this extends all the way to what? It extends all the way to infinity in the positive direction. Okay, now, since we can't write the actual, there's no typing or no keyboard entry for infinity, what we're going to use is INF is going to be what we replace with infinity. So this becomes INF is infinity. Okay, was 5 included in the set? Nope, so a parentheses at 5. And infinity can never be actually included, whether it's to the positive or to the negative, so you'll always have a parentheses at infinity. Hey, let's jump all the way to this one over here. Hey, what's the lowest limit in this interval? It's the lowest number. Infinity in the negative direction. Okay, so again, we'll type that in. So negative INF is negative infinity. What's the higher limit in this interval? 8. Can you ever reach negative infinity? No. So it's always a parentheses at the infinities, positive or negative. Can you, or are you going to include the 8 here? Yeah, it has the equal to, so it's a bracket at 8. Hey, just take a second or two and see if you can figure out what would be the interval notations for those missing 2 in the middle, please. All right, for the second one, what's the lower limit? 0. What's the upper limit? Infinity. You can never include infinity, so parentheses there. Are we including the 0? Yeah, so a bracket. This would be our interval notation. And then finally for this third one, the lower limit is negative infinity extends all the way to negative 3. Are you going to include negative 3? No, parentheses. Are you going to include negative infinity? No, parentheses. Okay, so those are your interval notations.